So I'd spent the last 6 months building my dream workshop during the winter, which I documented in all my previous videos. And now that dream workshop has been done, we now need that dream car. I've just bought what I believe to be one of the cheapest 944s you can get. Picked this car up for just £3,500, and after it sat in a barn for 10 years, I then thought it would be a good idea to drive it home, which was an absolute death trap. I almost got carbon monoxide poisoning, and one of the brakes fell off. So yeah. Shit. Shouldn't have done that. The sun's now out in the UK, and I want to enjoy this car on the roads. I think this car is really just lacking a bit of modern day spice. Once we get it lowered and on some nicer wheels, don't worry, I'm keeping it OEM plus. I'm not going to make it look all over the top. Could do. So yeah, mission, get this car ready for summer at a price less than your VW Polo and your Fiesta. Not dissing those two cars, by the way. I'm literally getting into one right now.
What are you doing?
Spending lots of money on a car that probably won't get me home. Anywho, here I am in a random car parking lot in Bristol. So from there, I've got an hour and a half drive all the way to Winchester, but I haven't made it that far already.
I'm stuck at a petrol station in Cotswold, so I drove roughly 20 minutes. Apparently that's Jamie Clarkson's petrol station. I don't know. Apparently I've stopped here. The rear right brake is jammed on, so it's getting really hot and you can hear it getting louder and louder and damaging, and I don't want to cause any further damage than there already is there. So I decided just to call breakdown and hopefully get lifted. It's going to be a long run, that's for sure, but it's the best I can do really.
But then I remembered, I am breakdown. Okay, so it's approaching 4 o'clock and the breakdown people just told me they're going to be another 2 hours. So I've decided to take things into my own hands. I've taken off the caliper and I've realised that it's actually the caliper itself is seized onto the brake, which is getting it really hot. And so what I've done, Mum, block your ears if you listen to this. So I've basically, with mole grips, have flattened the brake line, as you can see here, to basically give the brake line pressure. And I'm going to take off the actual caliper itself, so I'm only going to be having 3 brakes on my car. Alright, that is now flat as a pancake, no fluids coming out of that. Right then, round 2, here we go. Alright, let's give it a go. Right, update, everything's going great. My heaters are on full blast, but as you can see, they've taken out the heater panel, so I have no control over the heat, and the windows don't open, and there's death wobble. Like the steering wheel has insane death wobble. The brakes aren't great. The lights. So a couple hours later, in the Mad Max death trap, I finally made it back home after having to make multiple stops and driving with the door open, literally just to breathe. First things first, I went to go get the wheels aligned the very next day, because if the wheels aren't going straight, then that's what makes the steering wheel start to shake as they're going against each other. And then after that, I got some new tyres on there, just so the car is actually driving safe. In terms of the actual body for this car, it's actually in really good nick to fair. Obviously it's had 2 paint jobs. The first one being in silver and the second one being in gold, I believe. So I went from gold to silver to now blue. It was stolen in the past, so probably something to do with that. As for the actual mechanics of the car, everything seems to be pretty good as it is, but it has been left for 10 years. So obviously a full service will be needed. All the belts will be replacing, for example, the cam belts. But anyway, as for the rest of the car, most of the other stuff is just, well, broken. 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 Yeah, I think it's broken. You get the idea. This car has not had a lot of love for a long time. Just needs a little bit of spice. So I've now shown you everything broken with the Porsche. It's time to actually get to work, so I'm really excited about. I've had this car for 2-3 months and I haven't done a single thing to it. I think the first job to tackle will be the brakes. These things obviously haven't been touched in ages and they're the main issue of the car, and as you know, brakes they're important. I've already taken off the rear ones because they're the worst. Now let's get on to the front ones. Alright, front wheels off and then see what's underneath there. So one thing I've noticed with the driver's side front caliper, you see this disc here has a lip on it, and this brake also sticks. You know it sticks because it doesn't turn, whereas, well, slightly does, but not great. And that will most likely be because the piston in here is stuck and does not release the brake as well. So as you can see in the diagram, as the fluid comes in behind the piston, it forces itself onto the brake. But the issue with my one is that there's too much corrosion for the actual piston to move backwards. So it's essentially just staying jammed on, which is not good. Whereas this one over here turns a lot more freely. You can see there is no lip on the edge. I'm going to rebuild this caliper as well. That means I will have to replace the other disc. Right now I'm just going to take out the pins so I can remove these brake pads out of the way. Because these brakes are so seized, I'm going to use the brake pedal by pushing it to force the fluid out, which will then in turn push the piston out, which saves me having to do it manually. This is a prime example of why I built this whole workshop. Oh my god, I don't even... Ugh. I mean, there is a slight leak going on, obviously. Not great, but other than that, a bit drier than out there. Now I've got these ugly things off the car, I can finally start to disassemble and then get them ready for paint, new pistons, yada yada yada. You can actually see within the barrel all this rust around the edge here has made it harder for this piston to actually move up and down freely. So when you're pushing the fluid out and the piston's coming out, it's not going back in how it should because it's getting stuck on all the rust and all the gunk around the edge. So here you can literally see all the rust build up, which is around that piston protector. And it's just an insane amount. There's like someone's left like a chocolate bar in there or something. Whoa! Jesus Christ. She's out. Oh my god. Oh, brake fluid everywhere. Ugh. I repeated the same for the other side and then started wire brushing down one of the main drums and very quickly realised that this was going to take ages, so I had to come up with a different solution. Using the wire bit on these brakes is going to take ages. There's so many little small gaps and places that I can't get into, and it's just going to take ages to get all of this off. I can't really be bothered. So to save a lot of time, I've bought 30 litres of rust remover, and I've tried out a little bit of it already over here. And it's actually doing some business, you know, it's doing some bits. I sat there for about 8 hours already and it's just fizzing away on the metal, so it's obviously doing something and it's taken off most of the rust. Hopefully by tomorrow morning I'll have some brand spanking new brake parts and then we can go ahead and start painting them. I've been walking around, trying to catch you with my eyes. There's no one in my heart, but I guess it's a soft, easy conversation. Get a bit of your attention, I can feel love is real. Now try, if you're willing to just come along with me, we can feel no more lies. A simple dream of you and I. Simple dream of you. So you can literally sit eating away at the metal now, which is pretty satisfying. Hopefully this should do the trick and take it back to bare metal. Suspension ready for when the calipers go back on, because I want it to look car show level like. So I'm thinking removing the disc, respraying them. I don't think these actually need replacing, luckily. The lip's not too bad, but I think I'll respray them. And to give everything a shine up, everything's got a bit of layer of dirt on it. And it's gonna really clean. The green's gonna really pop out. And then on the edge, the whole bearing is actually in there. And then leaves the hub all greasy like that. That is the weirdest weird I've ever seen, ever. Maybe that's normal, maybe that's 80s, I don't know. This one here is looking a lot worse for wear than the other one, but I think this can be saved because I imagine this is a lot of money. I think it has to be perfect. Trim up the sides, give it a little respray. The other side's one's in a lot better shape. I think that's been repainted before. I'm actually really surprised about how small these hubs are. They're bloody tiny compared to cars these days. It's like a little spindle. Because this is pretty bust up, but I want to save it. I think it'll be fine. Cut off these ugly edges and we're good. I don't know, maybe that does need saving. It's like holy cheese. That's just been eaten alive. If you have been enjoying my content, it would really help out if you could subscribe and leave a like. Only 1% of the people that watch the content actually are, which baffles me. It would mean a lot, only takes a second. I got so much support on the last video and it means the world, so thank you all. Now if you want to be extra nice to the next person that owns your car, stick a little bit of copper grease on there. So I noticed a bit of rust and started to investigate with my most aggressive tool, which I highly regret because now I've just discovered a bunch of holes. It's one of those things, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Might need a little bit more than a small patch up. I don't think paint's gonna fix that, funny enough. Shit. Yeah, paint's finally here, so we can get cracking, get everything here painted. And once it's all dry, I can start to reassemble. I've gone for an acid green. I've seen it before on a Porsche 918 and I thought it just really popped. It looks so cool, especially with the blue. I know that Aston Martins also run it, but I think this would be a wise colour. That looks so cool.
It's been falling, I've been stalling for weeks. The stars are pretty when the sky falls.
These are all the odd bits and bobs. I thought I'd just give them a respray because they look a bit faded, and we'll give them a new lease of life and also a bit more protection. the start, I had to absolutely destroy that brake line just to be able to drive home. These are the new fresh ones going in now for both the rears.
Frequencies, heartbeat, destiny, lost in sound, we are free.
Alright, so now all the brakes are actually on the car. They look so good with this blue. This is exactly what's going for. The new Porsche, the new Porsche brake colour with this blue go hand in hand, I think. And just gives the car a little bit more pop because black brake calipers are boring. So now the next process is to actually bleed the brakes. So I've just made a little system out of a water bottle. So you see here, it just goes from the bleed nipple to the bottle with the fresh fluid. And then we can pump all the air out and eventually the fluid will come out. So obviously just got to fill up the reservoir right now with some fresh fluid. As I pump the brake pedal, this is just pushing all the brake fluid through the lines to the brake caliper, where then I can bleed it off and get all the air out the system. Bit tall in here. They do still feel a little bit squidgy, but I imagine that's just because the brake booster is not being powered yet by the engine. So once we start it, hopefully that will mean it's not squidgy, and if they are, it means they need more bleeding, which is annoying. Okay, so unfortunately they still feel really squidgy. I imagine there's still air in the system. It's going to keep on bleeding it and hopefully I'll get the rest of it out. Yeah, not great. Brake system is bled. The brakes seem to be working from what I can tell, I think, I hope. Yeah, now the real thing to do is the actual test. I put the seat in temporarily for now, but it is very rocky, so hopefully I don't die. Oh wait, I need to drop the car down first. Good start. Where's the bonnet? Done. Whatever. That doesn't work now. Oh, the handbrake's on. Really with it today. Oh, it sounds so good. Yeah, not great. Look at this interior though. Jesus Christ, the first. So unfortunately there's still too much air in the system, so the brakes are still soft. I need to rebleed them, but at this point, this was last year in November, I'm getting ready to leave the country for 6 months, going to France. So yeah, that's it for the car that winter, but I'm now back and I am working on the engine. If you like the video, please subscribe. I got a lot of support from the last video. I really appreciate that. It was great. See you in the next 2 weeks.